Good morning and welcome to the Bladensburg Branch Library site. Woo! My name is Roberta Phillips and I'm honored to be the CEO of the Prince George's County Memorial Library System. It's my honor to welcome all of you to today's groundbreaking ceremony on behalf of the library and the Board of Library Trustees. We are especially grateful for the participation of our distinguished guests who continue to have instrumental roles in supporting this project and the library system. County Executive Elsa Brooks, Council Member Jolene Ivey, Mayor Takisha James, Senator Malcolm Augustine, Delegate Diana Fennell, and Maryland State Librarian Irene Padilla. I would also like to thank members of our Board of Library Trustees, Brett Crawford, who is our president and will have remarks soon, Tony Smith, who's also on our board, and the PGCMLS Foundation Board Chair, Linda Washington Douglas, as well as some other Foundation Board members. Delegate Ivy, I said that. Oh, Delegate Ivy, yes.
It's fine.
I know there's so many distinguished guests, it's hard to remember everyone. We also are joined by the members of the Friends of the Bladensburg Library who have been tireless supporters of the branch throughout the years. 2021 marks the 75th anniversary of the Memorial Library System's founding in 1946. There's no better way to celebrate than breaking ground on a new library that will be a shining example of the power of libraries to bring Prince Georgians together so that they can create the world they want to see, whether through accessing free internet and technology, career readiness programs, story times for children, or opportunities for teens to learn coding and explore their interests. We basically do it all, you know that, right? Each of our 19 branch libraries, the Correctional Center, and our online library offer programs and services that promote inclusion, advance literacy and learning, support personal achievement, inspire creativity, and nurture healthy living, all while having unique features that reflect the interests of our local customers. I am confident that the magnificent new Bladensburg Branch Library, which will be almost 3 times the size of the original building, will serve as a catalyst for this community.
Yes.
Further enhancing the comprehensive vision for redevelopment in this area. Special thanks to the library's CEO for support services, Michael Gannon, Project Manager Sarah Mitchell, and the team at Gant Burnett Architects for the vision and leadership of this project. We are also joined today by members of the Bladensburg Branch Library staff, Heather, Deborah, Dulce, Roberta, Tracy, and Yesenia. And we know they are the true heroes. Also like to do a shout out for our communication team and our event planning that made this all possible and put it together seamlessly. Before we get started with today's program, please join me in welcoming Elder Willie Duvall, Senior Pastor of the Word of God Community Church, which is our neighbor here at the branch, to give the invocation.
For that. And if you don't mind, maybe somebody don't understand, but the Word of God teaches us that in all things we give thanks. And so if you don't mind, if you use your hands as instruments, would you give God thanks for this pastoral life? Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, this morning we praise you for this parcel of land and the ability to use it again wisely. Grant that what have been undertaken to the glory of your name, the new Bladensburg Library, will be successfully completed for the good of all people. We place the plans and all involved in any way in your hand. funds for this building site, trusting that you, with your guidance, it will bear much fruit in due time. We ask, oh Father, that you bless every nail, the boards, the windows, and the shingles. And when completed, to the faces of all there will be smiles. Please bless the officers of the town of Bladensburg, every school, every student, and all who shall walk through the doors of this institution of information and learning. We are grateful and we count it all joy. And we pray this prayer in the name of your Son, Jesus the Christ. Can we all together say amen?
Amen. Thank you so much, Elder Duvall. We appreciate that. This project is only possible through the support of our champions, and the true champion of this project has been Councilwoman Jolene Ivey. And I would like to welcome her up as one of our honored guests, and a champion not only for the community but for the library system as a whole. Thank you.
Good morning. I am so excited to be here, and thank you so much for the prayer. That was wonderful. Especially like when you were talking about blessing the boards and the nails, you know, I love that. So thank you, Elder Duvall. And I do want to acknowledge we have a Senator Malcolm Augustine here today. We have Delegate Diana Fennell. We have my favorite delegate, Julian Ivey. We have Trina Brown, who was recently elected to the Bladensburg Council again. And it's great. I don't know if there are other elected officials. If I missed you, beat me up later. Well, I know Takisha James is here, but she's going to, I know, thank you. I can forget, but she's speaking, so I don't feel as much of a need to introduce her because she will certainly introduce herself. And I am so happy to be here because this has definitely been something I've been looking forward to and pestering everybody about for a long time. Now, when I was a kid, reading was my escape. I grew up in Northeast D.C., and if you look like I do and you were growing up in Northeast D.C., you had to deal with bullies. And so the way I escaped was in between the covers of books. And I spent a lot of time reading. So if books on tape had been a thing back then, I think I probably would have been just living with AirPods in my ears, but that didn't exist. And so I read all the time. But there was no library where I lived in Northeast D.C. Now, there was a bookmobile that came back by, and at this moment, I can't tell you if it was once a week or once a month. It was a long time ago, but I used to regularly go down there and get out books, and it got to the point where the librarian had to start letting me read the adult books because I'd read every children's book that she had on the bookmobile. Now, today there is a library right on South Dakota Avenue. It was 3 blocks from my house and a lot closer than the bookmobile had been. And the first time I saw it, I was so jealous. I was like, wow, they got a real library. Well, you know what? The last time I went by, they've torn that one down to build a bigger, newer library. And I'm like, good grief. Bladensburg, we're still fighting to get our library, and they've had 2 in D.C. in the same spot. But of course, D.C. has 4 times the budget that we have and a third fewer residents. So there's why that happens. It's not that we don't want to do it, but man, they have a very different financial experience than we do. So when I was my first year on the council, first thing I did was start harassing everybody about this library. We keep hearing there's going to be a library. Every time I hear it's gotten pushed down the road. I'm tired of it. So I made one ask my first year. Everybody else comes with a list of requests, and I had one. Move the Bladensburg Library up on the list of the CIP. Let us get our library built. And they did do that. Now, here's the frustrating thing. Here came COVID, and that did slow things down. So I am grateful that it is being built now. Still slightly longer than I wanted. I'm kind of impatient, but I'm working on it. So I'd like to thank Roberta Phillips, who has definitely kept me in the loop and been harassed by me, and Michael Gannon, Stan Early, and Jonathan Butler, because all of them kept meeting with me, talking to me, taking my calls. They haven't killed me yet, so that's good. So I am very happy that we're at the end here. The good news, we're actually getting started, because a library is a lot more than a building that just holds books. This new building, as Roberta said, will be 3 times the size of the old one and will serve many ways as an important foundation for our community. A library can be a magical place and a place of escape for children. When they learn to read, they can go on so many wonderful adventures. And it opens just the whole world to them, including with Story Hour. And I remember taking my children to Story Hour back in the day. I don't know if Julian will remember, but I did do that. So now another important thing isn't just this building, and that's one thing that our county has to make sure that we also fund, is the librarians and the other people who will work here. Because if you just have a big building and you don't have people working, it's a little bit like when you go to a restaurant these days and you can't get a server. So we can't have that. We definitely need to have people working here, and it costs money. So, but this library will also have a 2-sided fireplace and a private room for mothers to breastfeed, although I did that wherever, so. And 2 giant glass curtain walls that will let in lots of light. And a nautical-themed children's room with an authentic ship's wheel and boat-shaped reading nooks. And it'll be LEED certified silver. It's going to have rooftop solar panels, electric car charging stations, energy efficient HVAC and lighting, and it will supply computers. So many people don't have access at home, and so that's super important here. Albert Einstein said the only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library. And I'm thrilled this one will be right here in the heart of Bladensburg. Thank you so much. I also have a citation which I will spare you from reading, but I do want to present it to you, and at some point maybe we can have it framed, have a little place of honor.
Thank you.
So
much.
read it tonight when you have some time. Thanks so much.
So thank you, Jolene, a true champion, as I've said. Next, we're going to have remarks by Mayor Takisha James. And she is the first female African-American mayor of the town of Bladensburg and was recently reelected. Hooray!
If you don't mind, I'm going to take this down. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am so honored to be here with you. I appreciate Councilmember Ivy doing some of the thank yous, but still just want to welcome everyone to the town of Bladensburg on behalf of the town council. I want to recognize I'm here with Councilmember-elect Trina Brown. I think a couple of other council members were planning to come. They may not have made it yet, but could we just give the town council a hand? Thank you is in order. You're going to hear that theme a lot today. As I said to Mrs. Phillips, I just want to get up here and let you all know from the bottom of my heart how grateful I am for this new library. I have to thank, of course, Ms. Phillips for really coming in as our new CEO with all the energy and enthusiasm that you see here and bringing that to the job as CEO of our Memorial Library System every single day. To Councilmember Ivy, when you first got elected, one of your questions to me was, what is a priority? And when I shared concerns about the library, as you said earlier, you really took that to heart. And I truly appreciate you advocating on our behalf and moving things forward at the county level. And even in her absence, I've got to thank County Executive Angela Also Brooks. Can we just give her a round of applause? Ms. Also Brooks has been a tremendous supporter of this project as well. And while she had a schedule conflict and couldn't join us, I still want to make sure that we honor her and her commitment to supporting this as well. Again, Senator Augustine, Delegate Diana Fennell, Delegate Julian Ivey, who sometimes gets smashed into Councilwoman Ivey. I don't know why. Thank you all for your ongoing support of projects such as this within District 47. They are critical. And as many of you may have already heard, our library in Bladensburg is a melting pot. This is where our international residents come together on the weekends or after school with their children. It's where moms such as myself bring their children on a weekly basis to really foster that desire of learning, creativity, and reading. And I can't stress, even in the old building, as small as it was, we would just be packed in here because this was our library and we loved it. And I have to thank the staff from the Bladensburg branch, from Heather Jackson to Ms. Deborah Capone, and I'm not remembering all the other names at the moment, but week after week, you all have been dedicated to our residents in the Port Towns community and other neighboring communities. In the tight little spaces, you all were uber productive, and the love and passion that you shared for reading, for learning, for social emotional development of our community, it is unmatched. And so if you could translate that to the community and that old structure, I cannot wait to see what you all are able to accomplish once we get into the new facility. And so I know we gave the staff a round of applause, but if we could just thank them one more time. And finally, as was stated earlier, we're not just getting a library, we're getting a library of the future with amenities that reflect sustainability goals, with amenities that reflect social justice issues. And part of that is because of the dedication, not just of the branch staff, but the leadership team within the library system, from Michael Gannon and others. These folks took time to really understand what the needs of the community were in terms of a new library. The Friends of the Bladensburg Library were phenomenal in expressing our needs and making sure those were reflected as well. And so I just want Michael and others on that leadership team to really understand how grateful we are for everything that you've done. And so in closing, I'll just say libraries are portals to all the world's knowledge, and librarians make sure that knowledge continues to be recorded and saved for the future. So to every single person here today and those that may not have been able to join us, thank you for ensuring that we continue to keep the knowledge recorded and saved for future generations and continue to pass that on. God bless you.
Thank you so much. So, standing in for County Executive Also Brooks is my dear friend and the DCAO for Health, Human Services, and Education. So he's stuck with me, and also he oversees the community college. So Dr. George Askew, please come up.
Oh, wow. Good morning, everybody. You know when the county executive really expects to be somewhere and she doesn't make it, because I'm like running at breakneck speed, because then she says, I really want us to be there and represent. And she's really, really, really disappointed that she wasn't able to be here herself. But I am grateful to be able to stand in for her and welcome you all this morning and celebrate this wonderful, wonderful new addition to our community. So many folks have helped make the new library possible. There's, of course, our amazing CEO of the library system. I hope we all recognize just what a gem we have in our CEO. I met Roberta very early on in my tenure here, and there was just a synergy around ideas and big thinking. And what really impresses me is that she doesn't think of the library as the library is or was, but the library of the future. And I think what we're going to see here in Prince George's County is a new vision for what libraries can and should do for communities. So in addition, I wanted to thank on behalf of the county executive, the Board of Trustees for the library, which continues to do great work as well. And I want to thank the board president, Brett Crawford. The county executive wanted to make sure, of course, that we did thank Mayor Takisha James and all the elected officials who are around us today, who helped make this possible, and particularly the folks in the county council, because they made the funding for this project and other library projects a priority in the recent county budget. So thank you. We also wanted to make sure that we thanked Carol Taylor and Mary Toberg for building support in Prince George's County through their work with the Friends of the Bladensburg Library Branch. The county executive has recently been saying that greatness grows here in Prince George's County as we continue to increase equal access to quality education and resources so greatness can continue to grow. And libraries like this are an enormous and critical part of that puzzle. A library is a center for cultural enrichment and learning, and a place to meet up and a place to study. But it's also a refuge. After all, when you think of a quiet place of refuge, what kinds of places do you think of? Well, one thing that certainly comes to mind is a library building. So we often talk about libraries in terms of equal access. And in this day and age, issues of equality, issues of social justice, issues of equal access are critically important to our county, but also the region and the state. This library will enrich our community with equal access to knowledge, equal access to learning, and equal access to the tools students, young and old, need to learn new skills and achieve their goals. But will also provide equal access to quiet and solitude, something that we sometimes may overlook. For our children, and this is of course near and dear to my heart as a pediatrician, it's a quiet place to learn, which is so very important. In the halls of a library, students make new connections, work through tough passages, and submit new ideas that help them build new knowledge. For too many of our students, this kind of quiet place is unavailable elsewhere, even though it is so very important. Just like other libraries across the county, this new Bladensburg branch library will provide so many resources to Prince Georgians. They can be offered everything from enrichment programs for students to employment resources for adults, and even free Chromebooks and Wi-Fi hotspots for those in need. Some of those resources are, of course, harder to measure than others. But what we know is one day, not long from now, a young student will come through the front doors of this new library. They will ask the librarian for help, looking for a book or for other resource, for a report that they have to prepare. Once they have it, they will find a quiet corner, sit down, and read. Then in the quiet halls of this new library, they will find themselves transported to a new place. They won't be able to put that book down. One day soon, we will see that child thrumming through pages of a book here at the Bladensburg Branch Library, and that day will come very soon. Today, as we break ground on this new library, we should all feel proud of our part to ensure greatness continues to grow here in Prince George's County for years to come. Thank you.
Dr. Efke, you got to come to a library scene because I don't know if they're all that quiet anymore, especially in the children's area. That's a rocking place. Thank you so much. Let's see. So it is my pleasure to also welcome our board president, Brett Crawford, and I'm going to say brief remarks, just as a little, Brett likes to talk. He's even worse than me, if you can believe it. So if you will welcome him to the podium.
Not that I needed that admonishment. I really was planning to preface my remarks by saying these will be brief. I want to thank you all for coming. This is just a wonderful experience. It's actually, I've been on the board for 5 years. This is the first actual groundbreaking I've been able to attend. My home branch is the Surratt's Clinton branch. It is being renovated right now. I can't actually get to it because the road is closed that gets me to it on Temple Hill. They've been replacing a bridge there. So I keep trying to drive by there, wanting to see it, and I keep not being able to. So I'm really looking forward to that one reopening very, very soon. But this one, my goodness, it is a jewel. This is both literally and figuratively going to be a jewel for this community. I want to echo some of the comments that Councilmember Ivy and Madam Mayor made. Very, very good, cogent, meaningful comments. This library is going to be doing so much more for this community than libraries traditionally have, as has been noted. We are, and when I say we, I mean not just the library system, but the library board of trustees. We are trying very hard to be innovative. We want to be at the forefront of what libraries can do for communities. We are actively partnering with organizations, both county agencies, whether it's the community college, the Department of Public Health, with local nonprofits that are serving the community. We're working with businesses where we are trying to really broaden what the library can do and how it can be a transformative agency for this community. I am so excited at what has been happening over the last few years since Roberta has joined the library system. There has been tremendous progress that's been made. We've got a lot more to do. We've got a lot more planned that we're working on. And we're really looking forward to being able to meet the needs of the community. But as Councilmember Ivy did mention, that requires resources, and it is going to be a challenge. We are discovering that as the county is changing demographically, the needs of the residents are changing. We have a much greater need than in years or decades past for multilingual staff and to provide services that really were never originally thought of as being library services, but because the library is such an important hub of the community where people gravitate there and where organizations and service providers of all different shapes and sizes can convene and be available to the residents, it just, magnifies the importance of what libraries can do in the community. We are trying our very best to be very, very responsible stewards of the resources that are appropriated to the library system. But I can say, quite frankly, we need more. And we can build these beautiful buildings, but we really do need both the staffing, but also other kind of infrastructure support, whether it's technology, whether it's training, whether it's other types of resources that can help us provide better support to other members of the community, other agencies, other nonprofits, and the residents as well. I think we're doing a wonderful job, but it could be so much better than it currently is if we had the resources to do that. So that's my pitch as the board president to all of you here, that the library deserves the community support, and we will do our very, very best to support you right back. So with that, I thank you very much and look forward to whoever is next on the agenda.
Thank you, Brett. I appreciate those remarks. So one of the things I want to stop and do before I ask our next guest to speak is I would like to acknowledge the 3 people who I cannot work without. Michelle Hamiel, who is our COO of Public Services. Nicholas Brown, who is our COO for Communication and Outreach. And by the way, talk about Prince George's crowd. The Library Journal is the magazine in our field, and of all of the marketing folks across the country who submitted an application, Nick won Marketer of the Year. And the other person I can't live without is coming up next to speak, and that's Michael Gannon.
Thanks, Roberta. I think I'll be asking for a raise this afternoon.
Wait to see the budget.
I have the best job in the library because that's the job that lets me oversee all new construction for the library. So I get to bring these beautiful buildings, these award-winning buildings, alive. I want to acknowledge the old library which stood behind me, and like the little engine that could, it chugged along for 45 years, and then it reached the end of the tracks. In fact, we couldn't even use the second floor anymore. It just wasn't sound that people go up there. So it was time for a new library. We are going to remember the old library. We salvaged the cornerstone and bricks, and we will have a memorial wall in the lobby of the new library, so it will not be forgotten. But this new library that we are going to build, which you can see right here, is truly, as Brett said, a jewel. I want to thank the Gampernet architects who were the design team that created this. We had a vision, and they created this. We think that this will drive economic development in this part of the county, and we are very excited for it. Now, many of our other new libraries have won awards, so now we expect awards. So no pressure on Gampernet, but we won an award. So just so you know. And I can tell you that Councilmember Ivy really did push this forward. In fact, every few months I would get an email. Hi, Michael. What's going on with the library? And I would be like, okay, it's moving a little bit. When's the temporary site coming? And so thank you for that. Thank you for your support. We are very excited that this library is going to be the first LEED certified silver building in the library's collection of buildings. So it's just, we're very excited. It shows our commitment to sustainability. We really are trying to be sustainable in all of our branches to show that we are environmental stewards. One of the things that we did for this new library that was to make a much larger children's area. The old library, those of you who know, it was just a little room off the side and did not have much in it, but it was well used. And we are going to increase the amount of children's books immensely for the new space it's going to have. We're going to put in 42 public access computers. We are going to have study rooms that we never had before, a meeting room, which we never had. The town of Bladensburg was so kind because they would lend us the town hall for when we did our summer reading programs, but now the staff will have their own meeting room to use. So that's great. And one of the things for the staff that we promised them is they're actually going to have a break room now. So in the past, I don't know where they ate. In their car, there was just like this one desk and this little tiny room. I was always so embarrassed when I would go there. I was like, oh, I feel so bad. But they're now going to have, we thought of the staff as well. So they are going to have a break room. But we are excited about this. We are thankful to Richmond Enterprises, who is building this building. We're probably a little bit more hands-on than they're used to with their other clients, but we want it to be perfect for the community when it opens. And I think you're really going to be incredibly pleased and surprised with our new Bladensburg. So thank you. I'll see you here maybe by the end of next year. We will be having the grand opening and we'll have our big giant gold scissors and cutting the ribbon. So I'll see you then. Thank you.
And everybody who works with Michael knows he is very specific, and things always look fabulous for that reason. So thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us for this historic occasion in the town of Bladensburg. We cannot wait for connections in the community and local organizations that will make this new library. Renee Battle Brooks from the Office of Human Rights, Brooke Kidd from Joe's Movement Emporium, the Starbucks, all the folks who come together as a community to really embrace our vision of moving folks forward. We will also, thanks to Sam Bryn and the Pull-Up Fund, we will be having what we call a Commons Lab, and this will be a social justice incubator. The lab will provide customers with the opportunity to learn about community organizing, how to start a nonprofit, and more. And we are going to be providing paid work-study opportunities for high school students and fellowship for young adults to pursue technical or college educations. After the ceremonial groundbreaking, we invite everyone to enjoy coffee provided by Carlos Lopez from Starbucks and the beautiful cupcakes provided by Jasmine Martinez. My team also thanks the County Executive Communication Team and Facilities Team. Thank you, Jonathan Butler, for supporting today's event. At this time, I would like to welcome Dr. Askew, Councilmember Ivy, Mayor James, Brett Crawford, and Michael Gannon to join me at the dirt pile for the ceremonial groundbreaking.
If all the additional elected officials wouldn't mind grabbing the hard hat from my colleague Bridget right here and then joining